The Sox missed out on Tatsuya Imai, but not all hope is lost because I didn't really believe that they were going to sign him anyways. We're going to talk about it here on CHGO White Sox. Hey. Welcome into the CHGO White Sox podcast, coming to you live from Studio West of our CHGO offices in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson, alongside my Joey today.
Good to be back with you, Sean.
Good to be back with you. Happy New Year, folks. New year, new socks, right?
Fresh pair of socks.
The whitest pair.
The whitest
pair.
The
cleanest pair of socks. This is not Curt Schilling in Game 7. No. Contraire. These are bleached white.
No, this is like you running out to the mailbox with these clean socks. You're going to get yelled at by your mama. They're too clean.
What?
I'm back.
Is that an 80s thing?
Yeah, I don't know. Wait, if you ran out to the mailbox in socks, don't run out in a clean pair of socks.
Yes. I had a mailbox. All right.
So this is an old guy thing. I used to, when the weather was really bad, I'd
Getting
run
mail?
out. No, I would run out to grab like the Tribune. You know, the guy would chuck it either close to the door or be far away in the driveway. And I would run out either in socks or bare feet in the snow just to grab it. And you do that little scamper and you pick it up and then you try and run it back like as quick as you can.
Okay. No, I hear that. Yeah.
So that's lazy. You didn't put on shoes.
No, I hear that's my run to the garbage can. But we don't need to, go too far into that. Just sneaking out the back, just trying to go as quick as possible.
Tip.
And it gets real icy back there. So I got it it's like real fast. Penguin real fast after running back, penguin over the ice, and then back. Anyways.
Yeah, I love that. I love that I layer up for all kinds of weather in the wintertime, but taking out the trash, I could go out in a Speedo as long as it's 10 seconds, and I'm just running out.
It's like
and
a spa,
I really don't care. I just run.
People do all this cold plunges. Just take out the trash. Shout out to Ryan, who is hanging out with us in the chat, saying Sean and Joey today. Ooh, man. Yeah, will we even talk about our topic today? We will never know. But hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. And hey, if you want to go the extra mile, like Ryan has, become a member of the CHGO Sports channel. Like we typically do around big events, there will be a diehard sale tomorrow because of the Bears in the playoffs. So if you are looking to become a diehard, we will have a great deal for you coming up. I think you could also probably just use the code Johns or GOAT right now, and you'll probably get the same deal. So
GOAT for $36.
Become a diehard today. Come and hang out with us in the Discord. On today's chat, we're going to be talking about Tatsuya Imai signing with the Houston Astros. We'll talk about the White Sox inviting Jarred Kelenic to camp. He signs with a minor league deal, and then we'll go to that CHGO Discord, and we will answer two questions from B-Dams and Ashley Page. One of them, New Year's resolutions vibe. And Joey, I want to talk to you about this real quick. Has anyone successfully ever done the New Year's resolution segment? Has anyone ever made the New Year's resolution segment entertaining? It's my goal today to make you laugh and smile during the New Year's resolution bit because everyone does it. It's usually the same thing. No one ever checks in on it. It gets forgotten about by the third. So we're going to try to make it a memorable New Year's resolution segment.
So in the history of human society, people have successfully done New Year's resolutions, like made a resolution and kept it in their life. But a New Year's resolution segment, I still think we're waiting for the first one. Back to you, Sean.
Yeah, well, we got to figure this out. We're going to do it for Ashley. So hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already, or if you do want to be like Ashley, become a diehard today and jump in that Discord. All right, Tatsuya Imai signs with the Houston Astros on a 3-year, $54 million deal. It can get up to a 3-year, $60 million deal if certain incentives are hit. He can also just leave after the first year. There are a ton of opt-outs in this deal, in a way making it a 1-year, $28 to $31 million deal. He signs for this year for $18 million. There are $3 million worth of incentives if he hits 50 innings pitched, 75 innings pitched, and 100 innings pitched, which seems easy for a guy that consistently was hitting 150 overseas. The thing, though, is they're paying near $11 million for his posting fee, which is why I understand the White Sox being out. If he wasn't going to be able to be a guy that you could flip for cheap, if it was like Matt Boyd signing for $15 million with the Cubs and his base salary was just $18 million, I could absolutely see it because you roll the dice. Maybe it hits, maybe it doesn't. If it hits, have the ability to flip him at the deadline and get prospects for him. However, with that $11 million posting fee and possibly making this only a 1-year run, seemed a little bit too risky for the White Sox. So I understand why they were checking in. I understand why we got like 5,000 views on a Tatsuya Imai White Sox video because, hey, the rumor was out there. It felt like with this deal and with the lack of interest for Murakami, Tatsuya Imai, and I wouldn't say for Okamoto because he signed a deal that was pretty close to his expectation. But Munetaka Murakami was supposed to get maybe around $575. He signs for $234. Imai was supposed to get, I think, probably around 5 years, closer to $95 million or so.
It started with people maybe saying, could the ceiling be 150 to 160? That evaporated pretty quick. I did think that he was going to tip the $100 million mark with his deal, so this was a little surprising. Okamoto actually is the one that I think kind of beat the market projection for him. Some people said maybe 45, 50 million. He signed for 60. So,
and because he could, play third base, could play left field, and then I think there weren't the
went to Toronto
concerns, right? There weren't their concerns with Murakami on zone contact, right? So at worst, maybe he's like, just light hitting, not like a ton of homers, but he's got decent contact and can play okay defense. Like Okamoto, I guess, was the most stomachable one. I think the White Sox made out like bandits with Murakami. This seems like the easiest buy 2 bonus spins at the Huff and Puff. You're either going to hit the mini jackpot, the grand jackpot, or you're just going to go home empty. You could run that back twice. If you give Murakami 1,000 plate appearances, I mean, I've seen 1,000 plate appearances from Lenyn Sosa's career. I could stomach 1,000 plate appearances from Munetaka Murakami. Maybe he doesn't hit in the first 500. Maybe he really starts off hot in the first 250 of the next 500. I'm willing to watch that journey. With Imai, it's not that I wasn't against that journey, but it didn't really make sense. I think if the White Sox wanted to be a part of Imai's journey here, it would have had to be a 2 to 3 year signing like Murakami was to make that posting fee a little bit more digestible.
And on the flip side of it, too, as well, like we talk about Imai opting out, what if he really struggles at the major league level? What if he has a lot of injury issues? He could opt in that very next year for that $21 million. I think that might have been also something that the White Sox were scared of if the structure of the deal that they presented to Imai was at all similar to the Astros deal.
Yeah, and then Baseball Toss brings up a fair point here. I think James Fox brought this up, and then everyone's favorite, Northbrook Bob, Jerry Reinsdorf's accountant, we're bringing up player options, and I think that Northbrook Bob brought up that the last player option in a White Sox contract was Joey. Can you guess this?
Oh my God! Is it in the 21st century?
I am confused by centuries. I think that it starts
after 2000.
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
And maybe we're wrong. Maybe there is one that I can't really figure out. But
Albert Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Albert Bell. Northbrook Bob said Albert Bell had one and took one. He'll have to think about other ones. But yeah, I can think of a lot of mutual and team options, but never really options that allow the player what to do. So Imai signing with a player option, fair reason why the White Sox did not go after him. I'm not upset with the White Sox signing Imai. It is a little weird. Ryan brings up that Imai's Houston's a somewhat weird landing spot for Imai, but they were close to contention. They need more pitching. McCullers doesn't seem to be, that trustable anymore. And that's a team that should be spending more money. That's a team that's very weirdly run. They trade Kyle Tucker. They move Jose Altuve to left field for like a month. Poor Yordan Alvarez can't stay healthy. Jim Crane is really competitive, but now wants to do it on a budget. Dana Brown is I think the worst GM in Major League Baseball. I think he's very chaotic. But then they have a fantastic pitching lab. They have a fantastic manager in Espada, and they really do a good job, like building up players. So like I can't.
They developed Hunter Brown. I mean,
yeah, they did. Like it's a team I want to hate more, and it's a team I want to see their fall. But yeah, they seem to be sticking around. I like that idea though of what's it called forgot my train of thought.
Developing?
Yeah, I got to give them at least credit for how they have been able to stick around, right? Yeah, so, well, and I think Imai, with the past success that you say Kikuchi had there, his former manager was Katsu Matsui. So if we're talking about Takatsu managing Murakami and then Murakami coming here, we also have to bring up Kat Matsui, who then managed, Imai overseas.
Yeah, and this is not an Astros pod, but maybe it is a little bit comparable to the White Sox. But like, look what they did. They had a core of like Altuve, George Springer, Carlos Correa, Alex Bregman, and Yordan Alvarez. They've gotten rid of pretty much all those guys. That let them all walk for money, and they have flipped it around and they've maintained competitive. If only the White Sox could have done that with the core that they had in 2021, maybe the Sox wouldn't be in the position that they're in, or the position that they had to dig themselves out of from this point. But the Astros have done a good job of flipping it over.
Yeah, and then Baseball Toss brings up, they even have Ethan Katz now, which is funny. I know this isn't what Baseball Toss is insinuating, but imagine if that's the decider. Imai at the press conference today was like, well, I was going to sign with the Chicago White Sox, but Ethan Katz is home. So I went to Houston to follow Ethan Katz.
Ethan Katz says the Sox are stinky. Or, he's just giving them bad info.
And then TS 1964, we're going to get into my top 3 remaining starting pitchers that I think the White Sox can realistically sign, right? Like Framber Valdez is the best starting pitcher out there. They're just not signing Framber Valdez. I think that honestly, he's a player that's market's definitely way too low. I think that blown up thing that happened in September where he got crossed up with his catcher, it's not a good look for Framber Valdez. I think he was a frustrated player. There hasn't really been an issue like that outside of it, though. I don't think that should like destroy his character as a player. I think that, Valdez, that should be a player that they're in, but they're not going to be on. So I'll give you 3 players that realistically the White Sox could be in on. But TS 1964 saying, I don't think Imai, is going to be more than a 4th or 5th starter. Look at Roki's stats. Again, 4th or 5th starters make around $18 million now. So it's not too crazy to sign somebody to a 4th or 5th starter role. I mean, the Cubs didn't assume that Matt Boyd would be an all-star, but then, post second break, he kind of pitched like, Matt Boyd does.
Well, and Jameson Tile makes $18 million for the Cubs too, as well.
So
it's comparable.
So it's not that big of a deal on what he signs for, really, because pitchers are paid a stupid amount. Even look at the deal with the Royals and the Brewers, where they trade Zerpa, a .6 WAR guy, for Isaac Collins, who put up like 2.5 WAR as a hitter. Pitchers are just way more coveted. And then even you bring up Sasaki. Sasaki's much younger. Sasaki was only 23 years old. He wasn't a free agent. He couldn't sign in the normal way. He had to sign through the international bonus pool money. And then even then, yeah, like look at Roki. He wasn't great as a starter and needed time to adjust. The Dodgers trusted him to be their closer in the playoffs, and they won the World Series. He had a .84 ERA in the postseason. He was like really damn good.
Yeah, let's be human beings for a second here. Like, if
you didn't give up a homer,
when Roki started, he couldn't find the zone to save his life. He was on the verge of tears in the dugout in a country he had never ever been before. And the Dodgers are so good and so insulated that they backed off of him, slowed him down, said he had a shoulder thing. Gave him 3 months off, came back, and yeah, he's not going to be a starter right away. They threw him in the bullpen, and then they used him in high leverage situations. So let's play this out with Roki Sasaki a little bit before we start like comparing him to other busts out there. I still think the kid has talent.
Yeah, and it's way tougher to compare these two because one again is like 23 years old, like 22 when he was signing. The other one is a well-established starter. Sasaki, I don't even think what was his innings like. Yeah, he threw 129 and then 111. And even in 2023, he only threw 91 innings. Just not a ton of work there on a young arm, where Imai for the past 5 seasons, I think, has been over 150 innings pitched. So, I think that Imai won't be like Sasaki. At least, like, I think Sasaki has a higher ceiling than Imai, but Imai definitely, especially coming over, has a lower floor. We're going to take a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. I will give you my top 3 remaining starting pitchers, and we will then get to Ashley, who said her joke was with the New Year's resolutions was, of course, that they aren't going to hold. We're going to make fun of that, I think. Not the question or you, but New Year's resolutions at the end of the show. Stick tuned here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. We want to let you know about our friends over at Sunnyside Dispensary. They are here to elevate your postseason football experience. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free shopping. They have a crazy selection with over 100 different strains to choose from with easy online ordering and in-store pickup. So if you know what you want, you can get in and you can get out. Wherever you are in Illinois, Sunnyside has a location for you. They have spots as far south as Champaign and as far north as South Beloit. So stop it in the store nearest you for expert guidance from their staff, especially if you are a newbie. They can take you through those 100 different strains on their menu, and they can tell you which way is the best way to imbibe on your first time. Head to their website for Bright Buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. For returning customers, use code CHGO50. Exclusions apply. Check out sunnyside.shop. Sunnyside Dispensary, Bright Buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Bet365. It is postseason football time. It is Chicago versus Green Bay, and no better time to sign up with our friends over at Bet365 than right now. You bet $5, your first wager of $5, and you get $200 in bonus bets, whether that bet of $5 wins or loses, and that $200 in bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Because whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. The most important thing, obviously, you got college football playoffs wrapping up. You have the semifinals and then the finals. And then you have just all of the seasons and all of the rounds of NFL playoffs. There is no reason to not sign up with our friends over at Bet365. Again, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus. If you or someone has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only. Back to the CHGO White Sox podcast. If you do have any thoughts, let us know in the comments. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button and make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Joey is our producer today. He'll be producing Bulls Celtics tonight. We got pre and post game with the CHGO Bulls crew.
Big Bulls.
They're on a winning streak.
No. They were tying one together. Lost on Saturday. Trying to get back in the good graces of the win column on the road tonight in Boston at the TD Garden.
That's right. Joey, what would you do on Saturday?
I spent my birthday at the United Center.
Right. And I produced the Bulls post game where they lost.
That was nice
so
of you.
You think I'd probably remember that?
That's pretty good. You actually played me a 4-second clip of me on the show.
Yes. No, I know.
And everything.
It's clicking now. Anyways,
all coming back to me.
But yeah, that's on CHGO tonight. Anyways, we are going to talk about the remaining starting pitchers and who I think is likely for the Chicago White Sox. Again, remaining out there, Framber Valdez, formerly of the Houston Astros. I think that would be a great signing for the Chicago White Sox. If we're doing an emergency podcast covering a Framber Valdez signing by the Chicago White Sox, I will not be complaining. I will not be talking about, trash cans. I won't be talking about crossed up signals. I may be bringing it up because of the narrative on why he may be signed for less, but this is a market that I think the White Sox should be in. Again, if you're a team that's not going to be giving 10 years, $300 million to players, well, Framber Valdez is a great pitcher and will be a great pitcher for 5 years, and his market's below expected, then that's where I think a team with a decent amount of money should step in and maybe play the market rather than playing cheap. Anyways, Ranger Suarez, again, I think it's similar to Valdez. He won't be as expensive as Valdez, but I do think that Suarez will get a playoff team interested in him and will likely get a deal with a playoff team. Zach Gallen has been brought up by the Cubs. Bob Nightingale, even like 2 months ago, said that he signed with the Cubs.
I jumped the gun a little bit on the
I think it's still happening.
It was Zach Gallen's wedding day.
Yeah.
And then people were probably at the reception doing like a little bit louder now.
I think, honestly, Zach Gallen's wife's like, you just can't sign with the Cubs now. This is so unprofessional. This is so disrespectful.
It would be full circle if the crumbs laid out by Mr. Bob Nightingale came back to the Gallen household and the Cubs and him came to an agreement.
Yeah. Ryan also says, I can see Framber Valdez signing a 1-year deal, maybe at $20 to $25 million to prove to teams he isn't a headache. The crowdsourced number for Valdez is at $28 million. If the Sox gave Framber Valdez 1 year, $30 million, that'd be a way better way to spend $30 million than signing Imai for, that 1 year player deal. If it was 28 to 31 with that posting fee, you're pretty much spending around 28 to 31. Like, I'll spend that on Framber Valdez. I give him $40 million. I don't care.
Not to derail, but really quick, if you were to sell Framber Valdez at the deadline, do you think you would get 3 top 15 prospects out of someone's farm system? At least, right?
It's a rental, so I think it'd be
two top 10.
2 top 10s possible.
Yeah,
maybe not a top, but maybe like a 2 tree and a 8-9.
2 tree would be nice, but no, I'm just saying, like, if the money you would invest, you could recoup very quickly and accelerate what's already an incredibly accelerating farm system.
Yeah, I think that if teams don't want Framber Valdez, I will take him. There's a lot of there's a dearth of talent here on the South Side, and I'd be thrilled with Framber Valdez. Again, Zach Allen's a Chicago Cub, so I don't think he's going to be signing. Chris Bassett is a guy that I would be able to stomach as a Chicago White Sox. I wouldn't hate that reunion. I just feel like he signs with a contender. He did post recently a GIF from Top Gun, so then people were thinking that he was then going to San Diego because some of it was filmed in San Diego, but no news on Chris Bassett has been announced. So I think Chris Bassett was just watching Top Gun or Maverick and was just tweeting out a GIF being like, hell yeah, planes. So there you go. We'll see what happens with Chris Bassett. Zach Littell is a name that does have a former connection with Brian Bannister via the San Francisco Giants. He's not a guy that I die for, mainly because his fastball is trash. His 4-seam fastball grades at an 85 TJ Stuff Plus. That's a 31 grade. It does get 22.5 whiff percentage, which isn't terrible. My number one guy is Chris Paddack, and he gets around 18% whiff rate on his 4-seam fastball, but Paddack also throws his a lot more, so it's not truly comparable. I would wonder what a weighted whiff percentage would be. And then his sinker, Littell, that doesn't save him. That's not like a pitch that you could maybe boost usage on. That sits at an 87 TJ Stuff Plus and a 35 grade. Very good command. He hits the zone nearly 55% of the time, and maybe that would be the interest of Littell. But the thing that I don't love about him too, the K number's going down. The walk number increased just a little slightly. And I think he went from like 8K per 9 to like 6K per 9. And then like the 1.5 walk rate went to like a 1.6 walk rate or something like that. But his home run rate spiked with his ground ball rate dropping. I don't really love trading that like 6% ground ball increase for like more home runs given up. And maybe that's a Cincinnati thing, but even then Chicago is a little hitter friendly, depending on the wind. So I'm going to say no to Littell, mainly because I don't like his 4-seam fastball. He's projected to get 2 years, $24 million. There's guys that I just like better for their price. Verlander, no, he's not signing. He's too old. He'll be chasing a ring or some sort of glory. Maybe a team that could slide into the playoffs, a la an Aaron Rodgers, but he's not going to be signing with the White Sox. I think that's the same with Max Scherzer. I'm surprised Max Scherzer hasn't signed with the San Francisco Giants yet. He's friends with Tony Vitello. It just makes sense, but it hasn't happened yet. John Gray is available. I dug into John Gray. You're making a face. Do you know actually why I'm saying no to John Gray? Yeah, John Gray's not the best, and John Gray's been like a guy with a great fastball for 15 years. You know anything about John Gray's health history?
No, not familiar.
Yeah, he was injured. I believe got screwed up around spring training, came back, and then got put on the IL for thoracic outlet syndrome, which is probably worse than Tommy John. The thing that killed Markel Fultz's career, the thing that Zach Wheeler's currently dealing with. Not interested in John Gray now that he's dealing with thoracic outlet syndrome. Seems somewhat like a death signal for a pitcher. Again, Scherzer's a no. We're getting into the guys now that I think are possible. Ryan throws out Lucas Giolito. I don't think he signs with the Sox. I do not see him coming back to the Chicago White Sox. I put just no next to his name. I'm not really interested. I talked about it last week. His 2023 wasn't as bad as I made it out to be. They still were able to trade him to Los Angeles along with Reynaldo Lopez for Edgar Caro. Thank you, Los Angeles, for that one. But I don't want to see Lucas. For a guy that does have a diminished fastball, his slider isn't anything. It's all dependent on that changeup. And we've seen time and time again that if that changeup is not tantalizing enough, if it's not clipping the zone enough, then guys just lay off of it. They sit on that fastball, and he gets hammered. He doesn't seem like he'll have a ton of flippability. These guys are, I think, flippable. Nick Martinez, formerly of the Reds, 10.8% K percent minus walk percent is something that I want to talk about. So that's just taking how many guys you strike out versus how many guys you walk. Littell does a very good job of that. 12.9%, 17.1% K rate to a 4.2% walk rate. But I'm a little bit more interested in Martinez. Martinez has better strikeout stuff. And I think that still having a 10.8 near 11% difference is more interested when your K percent's near 20. But he's projected to get a 1-year, $14 million deal. You said yes to him. I feel a little iffy on him. Low whiff rate, a little bit too low of a whiff rate for my liking. What did you like about him, Joey?
What I like about him is if you're looking for a rotation that you're trying to grow with young developing players, I think he's a guy in the back end of the rotation that can eat some innings when you're on a 2-3 game losing streak. I'm not saying that he's coming in there and being a stopper and picking up a win for you, but he's going to give you maybe those 5 or 6 innings to sort of stabilize and reset your bullpen a little bit. And I was crunching these numbers with the Imai stuff on the Cubs show, and I understand that not a lot of people are having a hard time projecting Imai and how many innings he'll throw, et cetera, et cetera. But I was just strictly doing a list of WAR players, and Nick Martinez is projected to have more WAR than Tatsuya Imai. He's about, I think he was 2.3. Gallen was at like 2.5. Like, there's a lot of guys there that were like, oh, that we talk about a lot, and Nick Martinez sort of sitting in there as a quality player that isn't going to blow your hair back, that might not be a difference maker for a contender. But I think that's a really interesting buy for the White Sox. And if he has a good first half, he can be the rug that ties the room together for a contender in the second half of the year. It makes a lot of sense to me.
I think it does make a decent amount of sense. He is one of the more expensive ones. The projection was for a half a year, 1.5 years. So it wasn't clear if you'd get a 1-year deal or a half a year deal. I would assume it'd be around $14 million for him if it's just going to be a 1-year deal. But yeah, he's got lowish whiff rates. I wasn't a huge fan. 11.2% whiff rate on his four-seam fastball. The cutter is decent, 19.2%, which is still a little bit low, but he doesn't really have like a true put-away pitch. The changeup is okay at 29.5%. He does hit the zone with it, so it's a little less like Giolito's problem, where it's not that good of a changeup, but he hits the zone with it, so it's something that you do have to at least screw around with. So I don't hate Martinez. He is 35, so a little bit older. Speaking of old friend, Aaron Savale. Why not? You know what? Aaron Savale traded for Andrew Vaughn. I kind of want to flip the Andrew Vaughn narrative. I can't lie. If Aaron Savale comes back and technically we traded him to we didn't trade him to the Cubs. He left on waivers, but maybe we could continue that trade tree and maybe deal Aaron Savale for something else, and then maybe that something else turns into like a Fernando Tatis Jr.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
You better promise that he's going to be a starter, or it'll be a problem, because that's how he ended up on the Sox in the first place.
True, and I think he would be, but he's consistent. And the thing that sticks out for him, 20.2% K rate to a 7.6% walk rate, 12.6% K minus walk rate. I think that he would just be able to get the job done. It's nothing absurd. It's nothing to write home about. You're looking at a 4.63 FIP compared to a 4.85 ERA. He didn't really outperform his ERA or FIP. He's kind of like finished where he was projected. He's going to give up homers. He's going to give up a decent amount of hard contact, but I like his cutter. 108 stuff plus, hits the zone a fair amount, gets a good amount of chase rate. His whiff rate's around 25%. Curveball's pretty decent, hits the zone a lot with that, gets a good amount of chase rate, 107 stuff plus. The sweeper he started throwing, only 6% of the time, does have good grades. I wonder if you would want to throw that a little bit more. Didn't really throw it at all, but it does look decent-ish. The slider's still decent, 103 stuff plus. We've seen Savale before. He's consistent. He can get the job done. And then finally, German Marquez. Well, actually, there's two more. I'll talk about German Marquez because there's the main guy that I want. I'll save for the end. Baseball Toss bringing up German Marquez. He's good outside cores and cheap. He will be cheap, so I'm not against German Marquez. Not totally out on him. There is no strong fastball for him. 9% whiff rate on his four-seam fastball. 4% on his sinker. Sinker isn't usually a pitch that does get a ton of whiffs, but still 4%'s pretty dismal. And I did see that home-away split going on. His home ERA, 5.98 in 2025. His away ERA, 7.32. So that doesn't really add up there. And then you look at his FIP, 474 FIP in home in 2025. Away 420 or 523, so no real difference there. He was actually expected to have a higher FIP away. Career-wise, that's true. 517 ERA at home, and then a 422 ERA away. And then you look at the FIP away for his career, 420, and then at home, sorry, it's 420. Away, it's at 419. So he really does get hammered at Coors and has gotten hammered at Coors. But I don't think he's that good. You know, his curveball is really good. So I think that he may be a guy that you could put in a relief role. In a way, he's just Touki Toussaint. In a different package, in a different thing. He's a guy with a great curveball and nothing else. We've seen him before. That man's Touki Toussaint. And honestly, I'd probably just want Touki Toussaint over German Marquez, because then we could have two for Tuesdays. Touki for Tuesdays. Anyways, I'll give you my top starting pitcher remaining after the break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. We want to let you know about our friends over at Four Seasons. Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric has been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years, and winter is here. Chicago doesn't mess around about winters. This isn't a New York winter. This isn't, oh, it's cold, I have to put on a jacket. It'll be freezing. We are dealing with the blob. We are dealing with Lake Michigan winds here. If your home's heating is not up for the challenge, call our friends over at Four Seasons. If you got a plumbing emergency, call Four Seasons. An electrical emergency, call Four Seasons. A new hot water tank installed today, call Four Seasons. Now is the time to schedule your Four Seasons furnace tune-up. And if you're thinking about a whole home generator, they have you covered. At Four Seasons, they guarantee same-day installation for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, and generator needs with no extra charges for nights, weekends, or holidays. So call our friends over at Four Seasons, 866-4-SEASONS. Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric has been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Sponsored by our friends over at Four Seasons, your trusted local experts for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, and generator. Visit FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Shady Rays. I'm wearing sunglasses right now, so you can't see the shock in my eyes that this deal is this great. Use our code CHGO over at ShadyRays.com, because those are Shady Rays. I know they're not going to break, and I know that if I lose or break them, Shady Rays will replace them even on day one with no guilt trip, no replacements. You can wear your sunglasses without fear, whether at a concert, a hike, maybe just driving, because that's typically when I'm wearing my sunglasses. But Shady Rays is the eyewear that has your back. Not only do they look good, and they have a ton of different styles that you can check out, they are polarized, durable, and the most important part, not stupidly expensive. And since we've teamed up with them, Shady Rays is bringing you an exclusive offer. Head to ShadyRays.com and use code CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Welcome back to the CHGO White Sox podcast. Shout out to Robert in the chat. Go Crusaders. Somebody finally mentioned it. State champions 2025.
He hasn't stopped talking about it all day long. What happened?
I knocked over my pop. Yeah, no, shout out to Brother Ice. This is a super comfy hoodie. But yeah, I'm very excited that, the first time we've won the state championships in 1981.
Wow.
I have family members that went there, and they weren't even going to Brother Ice at that point. So a very, very long time. Are the Bears going to be like my Crusaders and end the drought? January 26, 1986, the Bears won the Super Bowl 46-10 against, was it Tommy Eason?
Uh-huh.
Tommy Eason and the New England Patriots. Yeah, no, I'm thrilled for those Crusaders.
Was
very,
it Tony
very
Eason?
Tony Eason.
We beat his ass. It's
Tom,
tough to remember the people you beat up.
Bomb.
Yeah.
Anyways, appreciate it, Robert. Go Crusaders. And he's related to Coach Mitchell. Shout out. So there we go. You know? Got to represent family. Anyways, let's talk about Chris Paddack. That's my number one guy. I'm going to put Savale at 2 because I think he's a little bit more consistent. Marquez is 3. I hear you, baseball tossed. I wouldn't mind 1 and 3, 2 and 3. Marquez does seem cheap enough that, why not? And maybe he is going to see a lot more success away from Coors. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen. I also want to know what his stuff plus is away from home. I can't find a filter for stuff plus based on home and away splits. So maybe his fastball plays up when he's away from Coors, but I can only find, game logs for that stuff. So we'll have to figure that out, or I'll have to figure that out so we can kind of have an idea of what he does. Anyways, Chris Paddack is the guy that I think the White Sox should sign. 1 year, $7.5 million, a little bit less than Savale, and I really don't know why. Paddack gets great extension. He has a good fastball, and the thing that he developed in 2025 that I think is going to extend his career a little bit more, he started throwing a cutter, he started throwing a sinker. He used to be a four-pitch pitcher, forcing fastball, changeup, curveball, slider. He's recently started working in a cutter and sinker. The sinker does fairly well. It doesn't hit the zone a ton, but it does get a good amount of whiff rate, 25% whiff rate. And then the sinker, it does hit the zone amount, and he does get a decent amount of chase on it, leading to some poor contact. And the thing that stands out mostly about Paddack, 100 stuff plus on his four-seam fastball, nearly throwing at 42.7% of the time. It gets really good inverted break. What's it called? Induced vertical break. So it does have some rising effect to it near 18.1 inches. And the chase, what's why the chase is very good. 26.7% chase. And he pairs that with one of the better changeups for a starting pitcher out there. It doesn't hit the zone a ton, so it's similar-ish to Giolito's struggles, but he does get around 40.6% chase. And that's the thing, too, is I think his fastball is a lot better than Giolito. Giolito couldn't get by because his fastball wasn't that good. Paddack, I think, does get by with that. Giolito doesn't get that much spin on his four-seam fastball, which doesn't help him get whiffs up in the zone. Paddack is 29, as Ryan points out. He's still young. I think you're getting a player that can still grow a little bit, is cheaper than some of the older options, and although he might not be as reliable as Savale's 12.6 K percent minus walk percent, 11.2 is not damn bad. That's better than Nick Martinez, your guy. And he's cheaper than Nick Martinez. So I'm all for Chris Paddack. Let's go. I think he's like the sheriff is his nickname. Let's get this sheriff in town. We don't have a sheriff. You know? We got a lot of kids.
Yeah, we have a Batman. We have a Manateel. We need a sheriff.
We have I think Munetaki.
Oh yeah.
Munetaka has a nickname, no?
Moonwalk?
Well, it's Murakami-sama, which means Murakami God, right?
Okay.
So he does have that one. And AO, Fat Hipster, what's up? But yeah, Sheriff. It is a Scott Boras client, so I don't know if that's going to deal with anything. But yeah, I will take Chris Paddack. My rankings, Paddack 1, Savale 2, Marquez 3. We'll put Joey's guy, Nick Martinez 4. And then 5 we'll put Zach Littell. I really don't want Giolito. I think that's what this entire segment has been about. I don't want Lucas Giolito back in Chicago. No offense to Rick. No offense to Lucas. I think his mother's name's Lindsay. No offense to any of them. I think his time in Chicago was good enough. I don't want it spoiled anymore. I can still think back on that 2019 start on my birthday being like, that's an ace. Oh, God. Okay. The White Sox have an ace. You could set your watch to Lucas Giolito.
Pre-sticky stuff, Giolito was...
You got that, and that's what got him the spin on his fastball. I swear to God. Hold on.
No, there's a correlation. You know, they tried to, remember, they removed it from the game, and then they start kind of tracking guys and spin rates and whose was mostly affected. And by fact, after the sticky stuff thing was removed, the spin rates for Giolito definitely were altered. I'm not accusing him of anything. I'm just saying that that's just one of the things that they were checking and looking at. And for a guy that really had such an interesting, I mean, he had that stretch for 2 or 3 months. Like, the dude was really unhittable. And I'm curious to see what his miles per hour was like year to year, because I do think it's he's lost a little bit on the four seam the last couple of years. But yeah, no, I definitely think that's a factor. My thing with Paddack is, obviously Paddack burst on the scene in 2019. Had a really great season for San Diego, and it's been kind of like in no man's land the last 6 years. I'm a little curious about that, just because I don't know the player very well. I'm just curious about, does that come down to opportunity? Did something change? Did he get away from something? Was something not maybe as effective as it was 6 years ago? I'm always kind of curious about that.
I think it's a similar thing to Gio. He gets a ton of extension. He's 6'5". He's right-handed. The fastball isn't like elite when it comes to velocity. And I think, especially now, what he's showing with the cutter and sinker is he's trying to give you, diverse looks fastball-wise. And even then with Giolito started throwing a sinker too. But I do have some of the numbers, so I guess this is maybe a little bit more helpful. Yeah, but he lost about 200 RPMs on his fastball spin. So it went from about 23.32 to 21.73. And the inverted induced vertical break is about the same. So it was about 18.2 versus about 18.1, but it was spinning less. And the stuff plus went from 95 stuff plus to about 101. So he lost about six points or whatever, and that's not super drastic. Usually it's about 10 points to make a massive difference. But you could definitely see the lost ability of that fastball with Giolito in 2023.
I mean, even if you make it slightly less effective, that then makes his best pitch, the changeup, less effective. Like, that's the game that he's trying to run and play out there. And I also remember, like, he was tinkering around with, like, release point from the sense of, I felt like he was doing a really good job of hiding the ball for a while, like, and then, kind of bursting with that release point. And I haven't watched him in a little while. I don't know if I got away from him or if injuries changed that or whatever. But just, I know Lucas Giolito, we had a good time rooting for him. I just don't think he is. I don't think he's a solution, man.
No,
I just don't. I wouldn't do that.
I don't know either. Fat Hipster, 2 questions. Was Kona Takahashi on the Sox radar? I have no idea. I don't think so. Mainly because he seemed like he was going to be a reliever, but doesn't have actual like reliever stuff. I don't think he's going to get like swings and misses. So I don't think Kona was on the Sox radar. And then we also have the Fat Hipster saying, "Are we interested in Framber?" I'm interested in Framber. I don't know if the White Sox are interested in Framber. I have no connections with them. I guess we know Gene. But outside of Gene Watson, who I do not email, we do not know if the White Sox are interested in Framber. Again, I am interested in Framber, but not sure. Let's get into the diehard Discord questions. Oh, wait. First, we got to talk about Jarred Kelenic. Sox invite Jarred Kelenic to camp. It's a minor league deal. He'll be invited to spring training. We'll see if he wins the right field position out of camp, if he can be a part of a platoon or not. Kellenic is a left-handed hitter. He's formerly from the area code team, which the White Sox do love to pick up their local products. He's from Wisconsin, but area-ish enough. He has, and this is the fun thing that I've been able to learn. There's a Jarred Kelenic guy, and it's not my former coworker Herb Lawrence, although Herb's been dying for the White Sox to sign Jarred Kelenic for years. But there's this guy on Reddit who apparently just loves posting Jarred Kelenic facts. And one of the ones that he had found since 2023, who has the second highest OPS, minimum 25 plate appearances in Chicago, games at Wrigley Field and Guaranteed Rate Field, behind Aaron Judge. Joey, you got a guess?
It's got to be my man JK with that.
Gotta be your man JK.
And that 480-foot bomb, I remember at the rate too as well. That was sweet.
Yeah, Jarred Kelenic is the second highest OPS, minimum 25 plate appearances since 2023 in Chicago. The thing that I really am interested in is the athlete. He hasn't degraded as an athlete. His bat speed has been around the same speed since 2023. It's increased a little bit. He is looking for pull fly ball homers, and we do have some damage numbers that show why the White Sox are interested. Ryan Fuller has said that consistently they are looking for guys that can make the right decisions and, make damage when they are, or at least make contact when they are swinging. Joe, if you want to flash the damage one, feel free. You can kind of see what is still left for Jarred Kelenic. Again, he's not shown it to the level of consistency. That's why he's getting a minor league deal and an invite to camp. But mainly what I want you to see is that damage per batted ball event. And this is the percentile that he is in Major League Baseball. You could see that in 2021, it was 56 percentile. 2023 was one of his better years, and it was at the 86 percentile. You could see that in 2025, it's at the 87th percentile. He still does damage when he is able to put back to the ball. You could also look at the 90th percentile exit velocity, trying to track if his power has, reduced at all. 2021, 53rd percentile. You could see 2023, 84th percentile. 2025, 67th percentile. Not great, but it is still within the range. Maybe that is one thing, too, that he really did fall away from, was that 84th percentile year was his best year. Outside of that, it's been around 50 to 60. This is his highest since that year, and his second highest in his career. I don't know if it's leading to something specifically, but I do think that there is something in that old silk hat that they possibly found. Max EV, it does seem a little concerning that it's at 28th percentile, but when you do look at the 90th percentile EV, it's not a player that had a ton of opportunities in 2025, so that kind of explains why, even though the 90th percentile exit velocities, his top end of the top end, are near 70th percentile. That's the reason why the max EV is down, because you could see that he has hit the 94th percentile before. I do think that that's still in there, especially with his bat speed. The thing that's kicked up a ton is pulled fly ball percentage, and you could see that that's a little inconsistent for him, and it's something that I think will really define his career. If he is able to pull the ball like he did in 2025 on a basis where he's getting 400 plate appearances, I do think Kellenic can do some damage, and it's mainly because of his Seager. He does swing outside the zone a little bit too much, and you can see that in the chase percentages, 56 percentile, 51 percentile, 50 percentile. You can now see in 2025 it was the 25th percentile. You could also see zone contact was poor. Hasn't really been above 30th percentile, and that's the one thing that I think the Sox need to work on, is he does the right job of swinging at pitches in the zone. He just doesn't make contact with them. Does it sound familiar? Does it sound like a slugging first baseman from Japan, Munetaka Murakami? It's, again, similar profile to where they like the choices that he makes. He's just not able to make contact. It's also the same issue Luis Robert Jr. had. Luis Robert Jr. made the best swing decisions that he ever had in his career in 2025. He also had some of the worst results when hitting the ball. I think that what the Sox really just need to focus on is just more consistent contact from all three of these players. I think what we are learning, that one of Munetaka Murakami, Luis Robert Jr., or Jarred Kelenic will have a career year. One of them might also have a career worse year, but I will mark that down. One of those three are bound to have a career year because of Ryan Fuller. So there you go. But Kellenic, interested, intriguing name. We'll have to figure out. He also, Joey, one final graphic that we do have, the ideal attack angle percentage. This is the far right column that I want you to look at. 2023, 47.7% ideal attack angle. We don't have angles going back, or we don't have numbers going back in time past 2023. Via StatCast, 2024, 55.6%, and then 2025, 62.4%. Again, small sample size. You could see 729 competitive swings in 2024 compared to the hundreds in 2023 and 2025. So not a large sample size, but it does seem like he is able to get his attack angle between 5 degrees and 20 degrees. StatCast says that that's considered ideal because swings that are within that range at the point of contact result in the most offensive value for the hitters. Swings in the ideal attack angle range are much more likely to produce line drives and fly balls, resulting significantly higher in slugging percentage and more extra base hits. Hitters with the high attack angle rates include Alex Bregman, 69% of competitive swings in 2024, Kyle Schwarber, 67%, Jose Ramirez, 64%, Juan Soto, 61%. Joey, I believe that was at 62% for Kellenic. So he does have a really nice approach. He does hit the ball hard. It's just about consistency. And if the Sox can work on that consistency with Jarred Kelenic, and I, that's been kind of his whole entire thing, but I'm fine that the Sox are taking this ride. All right. We have some questions from our diehard Discord. First up, BDAMS92. How do you envision the Sox handling DH/catcher next season? Will Lee be on the team? I think after doing my research, I originally said no, Lee will not be on the team. I still think that. I think that this is too messy of a situation for the White Sox with Kyle Teel, with Edgar Caro, then on top of it, Andrew Benintendi and Lenyn Sosa. I think they'd be wasting a roster spot on Corey Lee, so I think that it's more likely he'll be dealt closer to spring training when teams kind of see the dust settle, especially with JT Realmuto. The catcher market really hasn't moved, so I think that it's mostly dependent on JT Realmuto and whether the Phillies will have a catcher or not, and then what the Phillies and other teams need to go. So I do think Lee will be moved. The thing that I noticed in this research, 98 games last year when Teal and Caro were rostered, and there weren't any major injuries to them. So once Teal came up on June 6th, they played the rest of the year with each other. Only 31 of those games had Teal and Caro playing with each other, either having them be at catcher and DH. So 31 of 98 games. That doesn't sit great with me. Again, that's 31% of those games. And a lot of them were in the second half of the year. I thought I had it highlighted, but I don't. A lot in late September was made up for kind of the lack of seeing Teal and Caro. It seemed like they started sharpening up a little bit and getting both of them in the lineup. But the issue I see mainly is you look at the way that the DH spots were divided up in 2025. Benny played 44 games, and I think that will stand. Getz said that he'll be, more of a DH this year, but I think it'll be tough with Caro and Teal. Caro DH 28 times, Teal DH 14 times, Tauchman DH 19 times. I don't think that they're going to have Kellenic or Pereira or one of these outfielders DH outside of Benintendi. I think it's a wasted spot. Tauchman was hitting really well, and he needed to rest his legs. I don't think they're going for Old Man River out in right field. So I don't think we're going to see 19 games from Tauchman. 16 of those games went to Vaughn. Maybe they have Murakami DH, but honestly, if he's not playing first, put him at third. If Murakami needs a day off, he needs a day off, and just don't play him. But I don't want to see Murakami anywhere else but first base. So I don't really want to see Murakami at DH at all. Nick Maton had 13 games at DH. Let's make sure that doesn't happen. Sosa had 10 games at DH. I feel like that's going to kick up a little bit. Then Robert had 4 games at DH. Fair, but again, if Robert isn't playing, just bench him. The last thing I need to see is Robert hit a gap, double to the gap, and then him pull up while he's DH around first base, right? If he's going to injure himself, make him injure himself diving like he did in Pittsburgh in center field. Vargas got 3 games at DH, and then Josh Palacios got 3 games at DH. It seems like there's about 6 games, and then you had the 13 from Maton, about 19 games there that can just go to Caro or Teal directly. Vaughn, 16 of those can go to him. Tauchman, about 19 games that can go to him. I think you're probably going to see Benny maybe DH 60 times, Caro DH about 30 times, Teal DH about 30 times. And then you're going to see him catch the other times. And if they're not catching and DHing, they're just going to get benched. I want to see them be involved as much as possible. I think you did start to see a little bit more of an okayance to have them both in the lineup at the same time near the end of the year. And that was when Corey Lee was on the roster, when if one of them got hurt, they could replace him. So maybe that is your case for Corey Lee, is then the ability to play both of them. But I would say Lee gets dealt, and they do that balance where it's mostly Teal and Caro switching off a catcher, and then whenever Benny's not playing DH, you'll see one of them at DH. Finally, Ashley Page, New Year's resolutions for the team. One that they will keep, one that they will forget before spring training. The joke that Ashley obviously is making is that they'll forget all of them, even the one that they'll keep, and then also the one that they'll forget, because mostly everyone forgets their New Year's resolutions. The ones that they'll keep, I think, smarter swing decisions. I think this is a thing that you saw really light up in the second half. They started killing fastballs. They started to be on it when they got a hittable fastball in the zone. I think that will persist with the White Sox in 2026. So I do think that when you do hear Chris Getz touting swing decisions, I think you're going to see better swing decisions. And then finally, one they'll forget before spring training, be better defensively. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Chase Mydroth is likely your second baseman. Colson Montgomery's your shortstop. Miguel Vargas is your third baseman. Your catchers are your catchers. Murakami's your first baseman. Benintendi's your left fielder. Robert's your center fielder. Right field is Everson Pereira and Jarred Kelenic, right? There's no upgrading it. These guys are either going to be decent defensively or they're going to suck. And hopefully if they suck defensively, they're hitting the hell out of the baseball. So you can forget about them being good defensively. So I don't think that it's an actual edict for them to be good defensively. It's mainly hit a ton of homers so people forget that we're even playing defense. And maybe, just maybe, if we hit enough homers, people will forget about the errors that we will make. Because it was better than 2024, right? So as long as it's not 2024 bad, we'll be okay. All right? I think that's it for the CHGO White Sox show. I don't think I got anything else. Oh, no, we do. It's from Francis Romero. Joe, you got our drops ready?
Oh, I got them ready.
I don't know what the hell's going to happen with the World Baseball Classic, and I want to talk a little bit about it. Because we are sports over everything here at ALLCITY, so I want to make sure that I'm watching what I'm saying here. This is regarding the World Baseball Classic, something that I really do hope happens. Something that obviously, if you haven't been paying attention, didn't wake up to the news on Sunday of what's happening. There are things going on in the world that might put the U.S. and Venezuela in jeopardy of playing at the World Baseball Classic.
A bit.
Some countries may not accept playing in the World Baseball Classic. It's neither here nor there. But if they don't play, they will be robbing you of something. And I don't mean to make light of this because, according to Venezuela, 40 people died on Sunday. This is not a joking matter. But to make some light of this and to put a White Sox spin on it, Francis Romero. ALLCITY Ramirez is on Cuba's preliminary... ALLCITY Ramirez. Do it again.
ALLCITY
is on Cuba's preliminary roster for the 2026 World Baseball Classic per sources.
Yes!
Ramirez, 44, who spent 9 seasons in MLB, was part of the inaugural World Baseball Classic in 2006
Yes!
in Puerto Rico at age 24, and would return to the tournament 20 years later at 44.
Yes! 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 ALLCITY!
So hopefully we will be able to celebrate the long and illustrious career of ALLCITY Ramirez as he's going to Phillip Rivers it and come back at age 44 for Team Cuba. And also, Team Cuba's a mess right now. Robert said that he's likely not going to play for the World Baseball Classic team, and that's likely because players that have, I think, denounced Cuba in the past are unable to play for Cuba, so that's why they're relying on 44-year-olds that I think still have their, loyalty to Cuba or their, what's it called? Nationality. I'm losing my word, but
What a wonderful world.
Exactly. Global politics love to ruin sports, and we love to think that they don't. But anyways, that's going to do it for the CHGO White Sox podcast. Went about 12 minutes over. Joey's got to go produce a Bulls game. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.